I hope all is well with you today. I hope you're making it a great day because no matter what you're going through, just gonna get through. No matter what it is in life that you may be facing, understand that this too shall come to pass. Either you're in the beginning of a storm, the middle of a storm, or the ending of a storm. Regardless, how you doing? I'm all right. Regardless, you must walk by faith and not by sight. Because the more you walk by faith, the more you put your trust in God. But if you're walking by sight, then you're looking at the things that are in the world, things that are of the world, which you can't take none of it with you. So you just want to make sure that you're traveling down a road that's less traveled. Not everybody is able to do what's right when they're walking through the valley of the shadows of death. You know, not everybody is able to love those that hate them. That's what our Father tell us. Turn the other cheek. But it's a time for everything. It's a time to reap, a time to sow. It's a time to love, time to hate. It's a time to build, it's a time to tear down. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you stay obedient, and you want to make sure that you keeping God first. You know what I'm saying? Anything worth having is worth waiting for and fighting for. Keep your trust in God. Don't put your trust in cash money. Don't put your trust in people. Don't put your trust in the things of the world. You want to make sure that you are all right. You want to make sure that you live in life. You know what I'm saying? You know, you may be on a job. You may be in a certain environment. You may be in a certain area that seem like you're not being welcome, or seem like you're not being celebrated. I don't want you to fear. Fear not. Because God sits high and look low. And wherever God got you, that's where he got you at. So you got to do your part to make sure you operating in love. Everybody not going to like you. Damn if they do, damn if they don't. You still going to have to be yourself. You still going to have to walk with your head up. And you still going to have to tell God thank you. Because trouble don't last always. You know what I mean? Your eyes haven't seen and your ears haven't heard what it is that the Most High God is going to do for you. So don't never go weary of doing what's right. Even when it look like, it's going to, even though it may look like the walls is crashing down on you, and it might look like, all odds are against you. I want you to know God ain't going to never leave you or forsake you. Now, you can leave from the path of God. You can leave from the path of righteousness, but the Most High God ain't gonna never leave you or forsake you. Of course, the devil gonna come and test your faith and try to make you go weary of doing what's right, because maybe the world is not giving you the finest of things. Maybe the world is not giving you the money, the cars, the clothes, or maybe you can't get a certain job because you're not of the world. See, Satan take care of his own. And the Most High God is gonna take care of his own. You see what I'm saying? So don't be, don't let your heart be troubled. And don't allow the confusion to stop you from serving God. You know what I mean? Everything happens in life according to the will of God. So you have to continue to make that decision that you're gonna do right by yourself and you're gonna do right by others. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how people treat you, you have to make sure that you loving yourself and you forgiving and you keeping a forgiving heart. Because not everybody is gonna love you. Not everybody is gonna care about, what you go through. You know, uh, you know, you say, are you one of those Christians who hate Muslims, or are you a peaceful man? Well, that really doesn't matter. What matter is your heart. If your heart is in the right place, you can be peaceful, and no matter what background you are, you can operate in love. You know what I'm saying? Hope that answers your question. But for those that are in the back, I need you to pull your seat up, come a little closer. For those of you that's in the front, I need you to continue to pay attention. And those of you in the middle, I need you to put your thinking cap on, because, it's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? We win some, we lose some, but we live to fight another day. And every day you wake up, it's another day that you can do better. Another day you tell God thank you. Another day you can be made whole. Don't let your past get the best of you. See, the more you move forward and the more you change, the more the devil is going to come against you. The more the devil is going to bring your past against you to try to make you go backwards. You know what I'm saying? But, God sees everything. So everything happens for a reason, and what don't kill you make you stronger. You know what I mean? When you know you love the Lord, then you rather down your sword. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what it look like. Regardless of what people may say about you. You rather down your sword. You know what I'm saying? If I'd rather be hated for righteousness than to be accepted for doing evil. You know what I'm saying? Any day. So it's not about, what people are saying about you or how they feel about you. It's about what God's saying about you. So when you got a good heart and you love to see people happy, you're gonna be hated because you're not trying to fit in with the crowd. You're not trying to fit in with others that, that don't agree with you. You know what I'm saying? So when you know that you've been walking through the valley of the shadows of death, and God been testing you and trying you like gold through the furnace, then count it all joy, because a lot of people gave up on you too soon, and a lot of people never wanted to see you make it. They was assassinate your character. They was assassinate your dream. They was trying to make sure you never see the day of light, and they was trying to make sure that you didn't stand and fight. But I want you to know you passed the test. I want you to know the Most High God is telling you yes. It's okay for you to move forward. It's okay for you to let go of what's no longer in your control. It's okay for you to love those that persecute you. Though they slay you, yes, should you trust them. But it's okay, because God understands how much you been dealing with adversity. The Most High God understands how much you've been persecuted. You know what I'm saying? The Most High God understands you are more than a conqueror. The Most High God will never leave you or forsake you in your time of need. Now, he might not come when you want him, but he will be there on time. So when you got people hating you without a cause, and they doing all sorts of evil, count it all joy, because you got to be doing something right, and you got to be walking away from what no longer serves you. If you get on a job or you go to a certain environment, you in a certain area, and they don't accept you, the Most High God say dust your feet and keep it moving. Go to the next, or move to the next city. Don't stay there and allow people to bruise your head and run your head against the stone. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You trying to do the right thing, and you got people just constantly knocking you down. They constantly going whoops upside your head, like, come here, back up. But count it all joy and tell God thank you. You know what I mean? Because, we don't want to see nobody left behind. We don't want to see nobody stumble or fall. That's why it's not good for you to celebrate, when your enemies are falling or they going through something. That's why God tell us to pray for them, because if you decide that you're going to celebrate because they fallen, then God ain't gonna be able to celebrate you because you holding on to unforgiveness or bitterness, or you trying to, um, you can't we can't repay evil for evil. You know, Satan can't cast out himself. You know, and not everybody is willing and able to walk down that narrow path because you might got people around you that's trying their best to down you. Every day you got to fight. Every day you got to get back up, and you got to tell yourself, I got what it takes, because they don't want to let you be. You know what I'm saying? And when I say they, I'm talking about those evil doers, those evil forces. You know what I'm saying? God tell us to be mindful of the principalities and the rulers of darkness in high places. You know what I'm saying? But if there's no pain, there's no gain. And you got to be able to suffer. You got to be able to be tried like gold through the furnace. You got to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking. Because it ain't about how strong, it's how long. And it ain't how long, it's how strong that you can hold on to the word of God, that you can do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Your flesh is weak, but your soul is willing, which means you're not in control. You know what I'm saying? You're not in control. So you want to be willing and able to let go and let God fight your battles. Because not all the time, we're going to feel like getting up, or we're going to feel like standing up, and we're going to feel like serving. But that's why you got to continue to do what's right, even when nobody's looking, because God sees everything. You know what I'm saying? And you may get over on most people, but you can't fool everybody. You know what I mean? So I want you to forgive yourself and forgive those who have wronged you. You just probably had a good heart and you just wanted to, associate yourself or be kind to them or show them some love. You know what I'm saying? Maybe God was revealing to you that they was going through something and you just wanted to help them. But we can't help everybody. You know what I mean? And warning come for destruction, pride come for the fall. So before you lose your head, use your head. Don't be holding on to bitterness and unforgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Clear your heart out. Tell God to make you whole and clean you up. Because you don't want to be selfish and all hateful and bitter. Um, you know what I'm saying? When God is telling you to bless somebody, God is telling you to help somebody, you want to make sure you're being obedient. But obedience is better than sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be obedient than to sacrifice myself, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even obedient to the Most High God. But here I am, then sacrifice myself for righteousness, or, you know what I'm saying, trying to do the right thing, but maybe I was doing the wrong thing, because here I am trying to sacrifice. I'm sacrificing myself to help somebody when I should be obedient, and I can help them more by my obedience. Because if I'm obedient, then I can hear from God. But if I'm trying to sacrifice myself before I'm obedient, then it's like, who you think you're fooling? Or why you trying to put on a show just to say you this or you that? It don't work like that, you know? So let us rejoice and be glad in it. Let's tell God thank you for the day. You know what I'm saying? Pray for those who come up against you and hate you without a cause. Don't let your heart be cold. Don't let your heart be troubled. Like, keep praying for your enemies. Keep praying for those that, watch you with despitefulness and torture, and, you know what I'm saying, they poking while you're walking, or they gossiping. They can't stand the ground you walk on. And they don't, just pray for them, because they don't know you like that. We're not against flesh and blood, but we are against spiritual forces. You know what I'm saying? we are we we are against spiritual forces in wicked places. So let's make sure. You say you are stupid. Stupid is, stupid does. let's just make sure that we are doing what God tell us. Let's just make sure we staying obedient. You know what I'm saying? Like walk by faith and not by sight. Don't allow uh don't allow this world to get you down. You know, don't allow this world to get you off the path of righteousness. You know, continue to travel down the road that's less traveled. Continue to tell God thank you. You're going to have distractions. You're going to have evildoers to come up against you. They're going to lie on you. They're going to spread rumors about you. They're going to gossip about you. They're going to do all sorts of evil towards you. But count it all joy because God sits high and look low. And he ain't bring you this far to cause you to lose. You know, uh, Janeda, what's up? What's up? The Most High God didn't bring you this far for you to lose. You know, but you don't continue to let somebody mistreat you, or you got to be able to speak up for yourself. You may be on a job, and you got your supervisor and your manager, and you got people in position that's always trying to give you a hard time. They always trying to make you work harder than everybody else because they see or they may feel like you trying to take their position when you just trying to provide and feed your family. That's all you trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But, they'll be trying to make matters hard for you and all of that. But I want you to know, God see everything that you're going through. God ain't gonna let them get the last word. God ain't gonna let them uh, mistreat you. But if you're going through that, if you're going through abuse, if you're going through manipulation, if you're going through, uh, you being treated unfairly, God see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So continue to walk by faith and not by sight. Continue to love yourself and check yourself. They just probably want a reaction out of you, or they probably want you to get tired to where they cause you to anger, and now you acting out of character, doing some things that you usually wouldn't do. But then they didn't stop until they got you provoked. They didn't stop until they got you off course. And that's how the enemy work. The enemy come to kill, steal, and destroy. And you know what I'm saying? When, it just seemed like every time you getting ahead, something always coming to knock you back, and that's all right. So if God allowing the enemy to take you through those things, then it's to make you stronger. It's not to break you down. It's not to stop you. It's not to block you. You see what I'm saying? But we don't want anything that God don't want us to have. If God don't want you to have it, then maybe it's time to let it go. And then you give it back to God. You know what I mean? But um, you're not by yourself out here now. You ain't going through adversity just because you're a good person. You going through adversity because the devil can see that you getting close. The devil can see that you are on your way. That's why God say walk by faith and not by sight. So don't worry about your enemies. Don't worry about those that call themselves coming up against you for the wrong reason. Because I want you to know, God will never leave you or forsake you. And I never seen the righteous forsaken. So it ain't all about falling down and getting back up. Did you learn the lesson? So we can. What would it say? A righteous man fall 70 times 7, or we forgive 70 times 7. And that's okay. But at the same time, it's progression, not perfection. Because the more you progress, the more you can perfect. So a lot of people want to put you on a pedestal and make you feel like you need to be perfect, or you need to be holier than thou. But at the same time, God telling you don't bow down. Keep your head up. You know, though you walk through the valley of the shadows of death, fear no evil. You looking around trying to see what are righteous at, or what are people that like me. You know, what are those people that love God, that love Christ? Like, what are those people at? And you can't find them because they few and far in between. So if you're feeling like you're alone and you're feeling like you're on your own, I want you to know the Most High God sits high and look low, and He's leading you through the wilderness. You don't have to go weary of well doing, and you don't have to go weary of doing what's right. That's why you don't want your heart to turn cold, and that's why you don't want your heart to be troubled, you know, because people will come up against you. People will try to tear you down. People will try to influence you in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to keep your head down, read your Bible, drink your water, and mind your business. Like my brother New Breed say, New Breed Global Truth. Y'all go check my brother out over there. New Breed Global Truth. He always talking about some good stuff. I learned a lot from him. But that's what it's about. Reach one, teach one. You can't be no hater or have that crab in the bucket mentality. Like you don't want to see the next person do good. You know, you want to be an enemy of progress. You know, you want to be an enemy of righteousness. You know, people gonna envy you just because you doing what's right. Just because you got God in your life. And they don't want to do what's right, so now they're gonna crucify you. Don't be afraid. Take your crucifixion, pick up your cross and walk. If you don't like the bed that you made, make another bed. You don't have to stay there and sit around and wait around and bow down to evil. You got to stand up. Stop apologizing for being who God called you to be. Stop trying to look for confirmation and validation, and you know you want people to approve you. God already approved you. Now it's time for you to get it done. Now it's time for you to keep it moving. You know, keep going. Everybody who came up against you, and you know what I'm saying, they played their part on the evil. You know, they played their part. But you forgive them because they know not what they do. If they knew what they was doing, they wouldn't have done it. So y'all be blessed. Y'all can replay this video as many times as you need to. Share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Send this to somebody you know it may help. Thank y'all for being here. Stay blessed and highly favored. I'll tap in with y'all a little bit later. Peace and blessing. Peace and love. Yeah.